Greetings, everyone. Listen, it is that time for another episode of Candid Conversations with Chanel. I believe that our topic tonight is going to be a continuation of Rejection Gone Wild. However, this time we're going to look at it from the perspective of youth. What happens when youth deal with rejection? And so tonight, I'm not actually going to cover that topic. I will serve more in the facilitator role. However, I want to encourage you that you are in good hands on tonight. Listen, our special guest is trained and she is qualified to do this broadcast. And so Tara Murchison is who's going to join us. She's been working in the field of counseling since 2017. She is currently a licensed associate professional counselor, but that won't last long because she's already submitted her application for her LPC. So soon and very soon, she will be a licensed professional counselor. She is a certified alcohol and drug counselor too through the state of Georgia. She is also certified. She has a certification, certified anger management specialist, and certified grief specialist. This young lady has a master's in clinical mental health counseling from Liberty University. And guess what? She is currently looking at schools so that she can pursue her doctorate in counseling. I am so excited to have Tara Murchison join us on tonight. Hello, Tara. How are you?
Hi, Prophetess. I'm doing great. That I've never been introduced like that. That was just amazing. I was over here like, is she talking about me? That was amazing.
Absolutely. Listen, it seems a little bit awkward because typically you're on every single candid conversations with Chanel, but most times people don't see you because you're actually working in the background to make sure that our show is a great success. And so again, I'm so honored to have you on tonight. As you remember, last week we talked about, or I talked about, rejection gone wild, a phenomenal topic. There were so many things in my studies that came forth out of that topic. And so I did mention last week, I kind of hit it, but did not focus on some of the things that happen when youth experience rejection. Again, it was just a quick overview, and I did not dive in. Well, tonight, parents, the young people that are joining us, you will be excited to know that we brought this candid conversations right to where you are, and trust that it will answer some of the questions that you may have had, or simply some of the things that you're wondering about or have questioned from time to time. So I am again so excited about the information that you are going to receive on tonight. And I trust that it is going to be a blessing to each of you. So let's not waste any more time and let's dive, right in. And so Miss Murchison is going to
Yes.
talk about rejection, and she's going to talk about rejection from different age groups. And so she's going to address it from ages 3 to 5, from ages 5 to 12, and from 12 to 18. And so
Mhm.
she's going to share good information. I'm confident. I've had the opportunity to see her. And so I know that we're going to be blessed by this. So let's dive in to Rejection Gone Wild, our youth edition. It's in your hands.
Greetings, everyone. Again, I'm very excited. So you may see me look over a little bit. I'm just checking out my notes, but I want to start off with I want to talk a little bit about what rejection looks like, meaning how do you make a child feel rejected?
Okay.
What happens when that child feels rejected? And I'm gonna start from 3 to 5. And I'm gonna do it from the social aspect as well as from a parent, because you can be rejected on both sides. And so they look different. The rejection comes differently from a parent than social. So from ages 3 to 5, that's preschool, first grade area, right? From the social perspective, it looks like rejection would be, I want to sit in the circle and we're reading, and you push me out the circle. 3 to 5 would be, we're on the playground and it's 5 kids playing, and I go and ask the kids, can I play with them? And they say no because you're not the same race as me, or no because you're a girl and I'm a boy. They're pushing you away. Rejection. It also may look like I have brothers and sisters around that same age, 3 to 5, because you know what they call them, doorstep kids.
Yeah.
3 to 5,
Like
and and the two oldest ones are 4 and 5, and the 3-year-old wants to do everything the 4 and 5-year-old does, but they telling them to stay on the other side of the door. They're feeling a little rejected from their social group.
Nice.
The parental side of things looks more like ignoring their needs of affection.
Okay.
It looks more like, when you're thinking about rejection, when they are crying, right? And you're telling them stop crying because you ain't nothing to cry about. So you're ignoring their emotional needs then.
Oh, nice.
It looks like beating kids all the time. So they feel like there's no love at all, the rejection of the love, because they feel like it's a physical thing. All of that comes to rejection from 3 to 5. So social and parental. And so when you move up a little bit from 6 to 12, though, it gets start changing a little bit, because kids start changing. That's the elementary going into the 12th grade. So elementary going into the 12th grade. And when I was reading this, I just was trying to think back when I was that age. I don't remember bullying. I don't. It might have was happening in elementary school. I do not remember it though. So rejection looks like bullying from the social world. So bullying, from my research, it starts in elementary school. And the kids in elementary school sometimes are bullying behind the teachers' backs, are bullying in the home. The cousins don't know that they're bullying each other. They don't understand that's what it is, but that's how that other child feels, like they're being bullied. It looks like teasing. So you too. Why you so light skinned? Why your hair curly and mine straight? Your breath stink all the time. Those type of, your shoes is cat head. Those type of things. In middle school, in elementary school. So for me, it started in middle school. That's why I'm thinking middle school, but it's starting now in elementary school. It looks like a group of people silently ignoring you. So me and my friends in elementary school got together and decided we didn't want to be friends with you anymore. And so when you come and speak to us, no one responds. Have y'all seen that? It made me think of, what's the new thing they doing, a joke on the parents? Give me my money, show me my money. They saying something, and then when the last person do it, nobody claps.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's almost like that. Like they feel rejected now. Y'all clap for everybody else. Y'all didn't clap for me. That type of feeling. Now 5 to 12 from the parent side is still a little bit different. It's a lot of the parent stuff is the same, but it grows because as you get older, you're looking for more things. You're wanting more things. Consistent criticism. So when you 3 to 5, you may hear it, but when you get 5 to 12, it digs in deeper. So if all you're doing to your child is saying what they're doing wrong, speaking negative over their life, they start feeling rejected because they don't feel the love or the affection coming from you. So it looks like consistent criticism. Not that I'm trying to help you get better, but all I do is criticize you. That's all I ever do. It looks like back to the ignoring the emotions. So 5 to 12 are, have y'all seen Inside Out? the little girl has these big emotions inside out too. And they're going on in her head and she can't figure out which emotion is the one to use. 5 to 12 have big emotions. And as parents, we're telling them, no, you're not showing me no emotions. What I want you to do is sit down, be quiet, and watch this TV. You're really rejecting them in their need from you. They need to be able to talk to you. They need to be able to express those emotions to you. And so now I haven't went into that part, but now they go back into themselves. It all kind of turns in. It also looks like
Ms. Ferguson, let me ask you, because when you said something about basically, no, I need you to go and sit down or go to your room, or but the thing that I can think about is the fact that they have these
the tablets,
tablets and the things to keep them occupied. And so whenever we look at that they're being given, this to occupy them, well, that may be okay when you're talking 3, it may be okay. But I'm finding that even those at that age, children are so much verbal now at such a younger age, until they get it in their head, hey, don't talk to me, just go get this and sit down somewhere. And so, do you think that eventually things like that can fester into or turn into or move towards rejection as they get older?
What I think that will do, maybe not rejection, but that will play a big part in their social life. They won't be able to connect verbally with people or be able to get out how they're learning all their interactions through the internet.
Very good.
And so having human interactions will be affected by that.
Very good.
And so I guess that could go into rejection. I was rejected from the human interaction with my parent. And so all of my interactions so it could.
Okay.
Talking it through, yes, because what's happening then is the internet is raising me.
Right.
The internet is raising me. The internet is teaching me how to do everything because that's all I know is to sit and hold this tablet. And so when it becomes time for me to grow and get out, I won't feel like I can express myself appropriately. I can, it will even, all of that goes back to getting a job, how to go to the bank, interacting with same sex or opposite sex, just conversations. It will shut all of that down because I haven't even been able to start with the lower level of my parents.
Very good.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good.
I had one more thing about comparing your child negatively to other children. So that one I put a star by. So to say that your child is not doing well and should look up to their cousin is one thing. Your cousin is doing well, maybe ask her or him for some help. But to say your cousin is better than you is not good. To say that, yes, it's the wording of it. Like your cousin grades are all A's, why yours not? That's gonna shut them down.
Right.
Your cousin played tennis and softball and run track all at the same time. Why you come home every day? And it sounds simple, but a child internalizes that. So comparing kids to other kids negatively will make them feel rejected and will make them shut down, will make them pull away. And sometimes I know this, that happened to you. And you didn't know it was rejection. You didn't know that you were being pushed away. You just knew it happened to me, and this is how I know in your mind to push my child. I'm hoping that me saying these things will help somebody because that's not assisting the children when you try to put them in. It's almost a competition.
Yes.
Yes. It's almost a competition, and it generally happens within families. It does happen with people we don't know, but it generally happens within the family line. People that they're close to, that they're supposed to be pulling on each other for connection and, understanding and growing up together. And we play kickball together, but you're putting them against one another. So when they get to the next age, 13 to 18,
very good,
where they really need each other, they've already built up walls for each other.
yes. I was thinking about, you were saying that, I was thinking about how it creates animosity.
Yes.
It creates animosity sometimes, or it lowers the self-esteem. And sometimes as parents, you mean well. Something you're saying in hopes to motivate, that child.
Yeah.
Not really understanding that when they're in those social settings outside of home, that we are not able to judge what those settings will bring, but it's
Never.
in those settings that who that child is will arise, or who they may not be that you're thinking they are will arise. So as you were talking, I can remember a family member saying to me, well, why you can't do this, like your cousin, why you can't do, but it wasn't my personality. It just was never me. I was not an out front person. I'm learning that perhaps I could have been, but during that time, I was not an out front person. Never wanted to be out front, never wanted to be seen, never wanted all eyes on me, anything like that. And so when they said that to me, my whole idea was, again, because of what I've already dealt with, now I'm thinking even more, okay, now there's something else wrong with me, because I don't want to, do this, and I don't want to, do that. So it made me think about pretty much how it can create animosity between persons. Thankfully, it did not do that with me. It just caused me to shrink even the more, and so as parents, we do have to be careful with what we're saying to children, because at a certain age, they start to repeat what you say. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
they'll
Yes.
start to say it before you say it. So if they know you're going to say, go in that room and sit down and shut up. When they think you're getting ready to say it, they're gonna say, go in that room and
Go in
sit
the room and sit down.
down. They start to repeat, rehearse, those things that, we say. So carry on.
And when you said that about rehearsing, our minds are so magnificent. So when you're saying these things to children over and over and over, even if they didn't believe it in the beginning, even if they had the strength to say, that's not me, somewhere subconsciously, the first time they make a mistake, Auntie so and so said I was no good. Auntie so and so said I was going to be a failure. Uncle so and so said that I was ugly and he rejected me, so I got to be ugly. Those things that, especially from adults, that come down to us, if we constantly hearing it, we might fight it for a long time, but once that one thing happens, it comes right back up. And so it's almost like the rejection is being piled up, and it might have started off something little, but every little thing on top of that rejection makes it look so big.
Absolutely.
It started off as one sentence and evolves into my mindset about me.
Yes. And I think that one of the things as parents that, we have to do, if we don't, when we hear, because, we all have family members. When you were saying so and so said, whatever negative, Auntie so and so said this, and we all know that we have negative people in our family, or we have people that just say anything, whatever
Mm-hmm.
to their mind, they may not always, mean any harm by it, but sometimes what comes to their mind comes out of their mouth, and as parents, we have to be mindful that sometimes we have to do damage control, and we have to address with our child, take the time to sit down sometimes and address what has been said to them. If it was said in our presence, or we caught wind of what was said. And then I also think that it's important to even go to that person that is saying those things that it's affecting children, because they'll say, oh, I ain't mean nothing by it. But at the same time, now years later, this child um, is feeling some type of way. And most of the time, for some reason, we will hold on to the negative things that have been spoken into our lives. More so, if it's more negative versus positive, then we have more of that intake, rather than something positive. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and get to the tea.
So let me skip to 12 to 18. That's middle school and high school. We know anything is liable to make them feel like rejection. So they had a lot of stuff. So I'm just going to do a couple of what they said. They hit some high points for them. Okay. So let's start with the social side. I like this boy, I like this girl, and they don't like me. They ain't said nothing negative about me. They ain't did nothing wrong. They just don't like me. I feel rejected. Or I was dating this person and they broke up with me. That's a whole nother level of rejection. Dating, boyfriend, girlfriend, middle school, high school, that's a huge thing. Very much rejection in that. I want to be in a social group on the internet. And I asked to be a part of this group. They didn't respond. I'm getting a silent treatment. And when I see them face to face, they act like they don't know what I'm talking about. I feel rejected. Social media is huge right now, middle school and high school. And so, or I post something on social media, Snapchat, or they got all kinds of stuff now. I don't know where the kids at now, but I post something and nobody responds. I get crickets. I'm definitely feeling rejected from that. Another thing is being cut from a team at the school. I tried out for the basketball team or the track team or the football team, and I just did not make the cut. The coach said, come back next year. I don't think I'm going to do it. I feel rejected in that moment because I didn't practice, or I didn't practice, and I just thought I was that good. And I really thought that I was going to make the team, and I didn't. Also, what we call those, the rooms where they're right before they go out to the games. Not the fitting rooms.
The locker room.
The locker rooms. There could be a lot of rejection going on there too, because if you're the star player compared to the player who hasn't been on the field yet or on the court yet, and you're trying to talk to everybody because we're a team, and you feel like they're pushing you away. You're not in that social circle of the stars. That's rejection as well. So you can make the team and still feel like you're rejected. Another thing would be they have kickbacks. We had parties. They have kickbacks now. So you wasn't invited to the kickback. And so you see it all over social media, but didn't even get an invite. That'll be rejection. Because parties isn't open to everybody. A kickback is somebody's house, and you got to be somebody special to come to my house. And so you feel like I must not be special because they didn't even invite me, even though my mom going to tell me I can't stay out. You just wanted the invite. So, yeah. It's a lot more. You didn't get invited. Okay, let's talk a little bit to the seniors and the juniors. They are putting in application for colleges right now and don't get accepted to the colleges. That's rejection. That's a heartbreak that we have to be prepared to help them through. they're only 18, not understanding that there's so many other opportunities, but my mind is set. I'm going here. And you don't get accepted. That is another, and although it wasn't planned, it's still a heartbreak and it's still rejection. So those are some social ones. Parental side is a lot like middle school. No physical touch from the parents, no emotional acceptance from the parents. That emotional thing for like 12 to 18 altogether, they don't know how they feeling. So from day to day, they trying to explain it to you and you shutting them down every time because yesterday they was happening, today they're not. It's because they don't understand. They're still trying, their brains are still trying to regulate their emotions. And so if the parent is shutting down those emotions, eventually that child is going to shut down their emotions.
Oh, wow.
And so they're feeling rejected because they can't even allow themselves to feel anything. Abandonment from a parent. So that didn't come up until I got to 12 to 18. And that's something I really wanted to research more about. And I'm probably going to do a paper on it eventually. Because abandonment from a parent can start at birth. But they made it more specific, 12 to 18. So what I read into that in my mind, you had your parent until you were 12 or whatever age, and then they left and disappeared. I can see how that could be a bigger heartache because at 12 to 18, I've already built this connection with you. So it's almost as if you're rejecting me and my personality now. I have become who I am, and now you're rejecting me. And so that's a whole different level. Criticism from the parents and withholding love and affection was another one for 12 to 18. When I read that, I said, in my mind, I put it with the emotional shutting down, but that's not the same thing. I started looking into it. Withholding love and affection is you not giving them yours. Not allowing them to talk about their emotions is you shutting them down, which are different. You can love on your child and give them your love and shut them down, or you can let them talk and never give them your love. But they separated them in this one, which was some good information. Withholding love and affection to me looks like you walk in the door and your child comes to give you a hug and you turn around. Your child says, "Good morning, Dad, I love you." And you say, right? Or they did a great job, and instead of you giving them a pat on the back or congratulations, you tell them you could have did better. I mean, yeah, you won, but you could have did better because that was horrible. That pass was just horrible. You know, that goes all into that. And so that's the sum of what rejection looks like that I have. Do I have any questions about any of that? Or you want me to wait to the end with my questions?
Yes.
Okay. So the next part I want to talk about is how does that manifest in the child? So if they are experiencing any of these, so I kind of separated these two into two different ones, adolescence and youth, instead of the three groups, adolescence and youth. What does that look like when a child has felt these things? What does the manifestation from the child look like? So I'm going to go to adolescence. If your parent has been rejecting you, it looks like an aggressive child. A child that you're unsure of why they are at school all the time, fussing and fighting. Why they are wanting to swing on the teacher. So the aggressiveness of the child is what it kind of looks like manifesting in a youth. As well as the rejection part of, it's two sides of it. So that either they're going to go all the way aggressive or don't want to leave the teacher because the teacher is showing them the love that they're missing. So it could be two-sided. A child that is so attached to that teacher or the parapro or that one person who shows them that special attention, that child may also be dealing with some type of rejection at home. Those youth who are just, it's separation anxiety really from the teacher and not the parent.
Oh, wow.
Yes, because they're wanting to be around that love and affection. They're wanting to be around that person who is showing them, nurturing them, that's the word, who is nurturing them and nurturing their emotions. And so that separation anxiety happens that most people see with the parents. It happens from that individual who is giving them those things. Social rejection from a youth is mostly on the aggressive side. At the playgrounds, they have been pushed a little bit, a lot, but pushed to the side. They still in elementary school, preschool. Eventually, that child gonna start fighting them other kids unless they have a temperament. This is the part that I saw. If their temperament is already really shy, they won't do that. What they will do is you'll start seeing them by themselves all the time. All the time, no matter what, even from everything and everyone. It's according to that temperament, that the inborn temperament that that child has. But it's really aggressive. Are you all it's out, they don't have the emotional regulation, so they're gonna have one end of the spectrum or the other. Which we are supposed to be as an adults teaching them how to regulate themselves. But when they don't have that at the home, they're gonna use what they know best. They go into protective mode at the ages of 3 to 5. I'm protecting myself. They already know that they are feeling rejected at the ages of 3 to 5. That's the part that I didn't express enough of. They already know that they're being rejected at that young age. And so they're already, the mind is so magnificent, like I said, it's already trying to come up with a plan on how to protect me at that young age. Going on to our adolescence, rejection can turn into depression. If a guy or girl is dating someone and all of a sudden we're not dating anymore and all I knew was you, it got to be something wrong with me. And so that rejection turns into an inner fight instead of something wrong with you because you left me because I'm the bomb, right? Because I know who I am. It turns into that inner fight of what is wrong with me. I must be ugly. Let me dye my hair. They start doing stuff like that. Let me dye my hair. Maybe he'll want me back. Let me wear shorter skirts. Maybe he'll talk to me tomorrow. Let me change my group friends because maybe he was complaining about your friends. And so you just change everybody to see. So you're starting to fixate on what can I fix for this guy, when in reality, you're really depressed about not being with the guy. It can turn into.
So, Sister Terry, we talk about the young ladies,
Yes.
and this particular topic to what you're sharing now is so huge, in high school, even I would say even coming into middle school, where of course young ladies want to be liked by certain persons, and then even with guys, they want to be noticed by certain, young ladies. And so this is a big issue when we're looking at adolescence, and we're talking about rejection, because here now is the opportunity, and 9 times out of 10, those children will not have dealt with rejection at this point, because one, we really don't recognize that we've experienced rejection. And so now here is the opportunity, as we go and get into middle school, and we're headed to high school, all of those ages. Now is the opportunity for that rejection to manifest in
Yes.
some type of way. And so you talked about the manifestation of it in like relationships. Again, girls having their eyes on certain guys. It's a little
Hmm.
bit different now, because whereas we kind of waited for guys to approach, girls are a little bit different now. And
Yeah.
so they, may not have a problem. Not all of them, some may not have a
Some.
problem, approaching a guy to talk
Right.
to them. But let's even go back before it gets to this, like the relationship, the interest relationships. I think about how young people begin to identify with persons at a very young age. They start
Right.
identifying with people. They may have the opportunity to, let's say, come up in school all through their years with someone. And now, they become, depending on their relationship, they may become attached to somebody.
Hmm.
They take a lot of stock in what their friends say about them.
For
And
sure.
so when we're looking at how this gets started, it starts from something simple as friendships. And then our
Yes.
friendships spin off into other types of relationships. But these friendships can be so critical and can be so detrimental that they can spin our lives in different directions.
For
Some
sure.
directions we want are, may be okay. Some of them may not be okay. 9 times out of 10, when you experience this rejection, you're going to have a hard time moving on, because
Hmm.
it's hard to move on in thinking that something is wrong. So most of the times we're afraid to move on because we're feeling like something is wrong. So if something is wrong and I move on to a new group of friends, then it's a possibility that I'm going to be rejected by this group of friends as well. And so the depth, the seriousness of rejection, it really takes a root, and again, it can shift the
Yeah.
direction of our lives. And most of the times rejection will cause these attachment issues where we're not able to move on, like I say, and to move forward. And so we'll stay in friendships, at that age that tend to be abusive. um, and so we'll allow people to do us
Jesus.
allow people to do you any kind of way. And so a lot of things you may just swallow it,
Yes.
because after all, at least being a part of this group,
They accepted me. They
they
accepted me.
very good in
Yes.
this group. Whereas, I wasn't, I already knew not to even try to go after the most popular,
Yeah.
kids. So I knew that was a no-no. And even though in this group, because there are times where you grow apart, there are
Hmm.
times as you get a little bit older, then those that you consider friends may become jealous of you. Those that you consider friends, they may start getting new friends and
Right.
now may not want to be bothered with you. And so those things create or strengthen those areas
Yes.
where we've
Yes.
been rejected. And now, as you said, we may have those attachment issues. There are
Hmm.
critical things that
Yeah.
can go on at that stage. And so I
Yeah.
think about those critical things because we think about we wonder how children when they go from this friend stage And so now, I've had some rejection issues from my friends. And so now I'm confused.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
I could just say it like that. Now I'm
Yes.
confused. So now life is still moving, life is still happening. And at some point, okay, I may get interested in a young lady. I may
Yes.
get interested in a young man. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Now, if that doesn't work out, then now it has compiled on.
Mm-hmm.
There's been the rejection from parents, possibly, um,
Mm-hmm.
those that where we've come
Friends.
up through the years, could be family
Mm-hmm.
members, different people. When they say, "Hey, I want you hanging around them," we could have those things, and now we're over here into relationships. Now we're trying
Relationship.
to be in a relationship with someone with rejection issues, and then when that does not work out, now
Yeah.
it's a whirlwind.
Confused.
We're
So
confused.
confused.
But
It's real life because it
it's
has happened to me. So for me, rejection started at a young age,
Mhm.
4.
Okay.
And so growing up, oh God. So when I was in high school, I had a group of friends.
Hmm.
We were very close. And then it was a certain group of people who wanted me to hang out with them. I can remember hanging out with them 2 times. I could count the amount of times. And I remember the second time saying, these people know so many people and they're too high up on the chain of, they can't really want to be my friend. They just want to use me. I remember thinking that about me.
Mm.
David, nothing, did nothing to me, said nothing wrong to me. I put that thought in my head that they could not really want to be my friend. From the opposite side of your social circle, rejection, your parents, if you starting with the parents and rejection from your parents messes up your mental about you.
Mm.
And so there had to already be something wrong with me. And so when these people were literally trying to bring me in to be their friend, I end up rejecting them on their behalf.
Very good. Very good.
I rejected them because I had to reject them before they did it to me. I couldn't have been a part of the it circle because that ain't who I. Got to be something wrong with me, so I can't be a part of the it circle.
Very good.
Thank goodness for change and growth in my mind, but that took years of not thinking I wasn't enough.
Mhm.
But I didn't know it was rejection. That's the part. I didn't know that I was feeling rejected. I didn't know that I was feeling um, left out in the cold and abandoned. I didn't know all those things.
Mhm.
It has grown as I've become more in tune with who I am, more in tune with God, Him showing me who I am and things that I do and why I say certain things. I'm like, why am I saying that about me? I'm beautiful, girl. Ain't nothing wrong with your skin. But every now and then, I'm like, I used to look in the mirror and say, "You ugly, girl." Why would I do that? Why would I do that? It was because it was a seed planted way back when I thought it had to be something wrong with me. So
So
I'm trying to find those pieces. And so the social circle that the people who wanted to be my friend, I just couldn't let them. It had
mm,
nothing to do with them. It was always me, but I felt like it was them.
mm. That's very good. That is very good. And so as you were talking, it made me think about how, you were saying basically this happened years ago.
Yes.
This one thought, now it shows up again
Mm-hmm.
at a pivotal point in your life.
Mm-hmm.
When we get to high school, and those are very pivotal. Every area of our life is pivotal, but
Yes.
high school will cause us to the manifestation of some of the things of who we are so prevalent in high school.
Yes.
It will manifest in such ways that may not always be, good ways. And so when we look at our society now, and a lot of times we play down your first love.
Yeah.
And that may be, I really would like to do something where I spend some time on that first love because,
Mm.
as parents, you can easily think that, let me take it back, before parenthood, you can think that your first love, it didn't have a profound impact on your life. But if
Okay.
it was, no matter how young you may have been, whatever we've deemed as that was my first love, then there's some seriousness there. There are some things that happened and transpired in that thought of this is my first love. And I would
Mm-hmm.
say that whatever it was, whether good or bad, it will go with us for the duration until we deal with that whole first love thing. Let's dive
Yeah.
a little bit deeper with that.
Mm-hmm.
When we, male or female, give up our virginity, that's a whole nother
Whole
dynamic
nother.
going on. And so when we look at ourselves as individuals, I always say it's so key that we understand what we've been through.
Right.
What we've been through has a grave effect on who we are today. It's a part of our decision making, whether we think that it's at the forefront of our decisions or not at the forefront of our decision. What we've gone through is a major part of who we are and why we
Mm.
do what we do, why we give what we give, why we withhold what we withhold in so many different aspects um, of our life. And so,
Yes.
again, that high school is
Yes.
so, it's such a key,
Yes.
important part because we're seeing different things
So many.
that are transpiring, and some of that stuff happens from rejection. It happens from, we may be the coolest thing ever in school, but if we were rejected early on, that
It's
has
still with
not
us.
gone anywhere. And so
That's it.
now we're processing through
That
what
rejection.
that rejection.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, if it's rejection from parents, if it's from parents being divorced,
Yep.
if
Yep.
it's from parents arguing all of the time, if it's all of those things contribute, and we may feel like, even though we may have been brought out of toxic situations and relationships,
Mm-hmm.
if we didn't deal with what was the
That's it.
residue of that toxicity, we're going to deal with it 9 times out of 10. As you said, middle school is that manifestation. It's going to start
That's all I
manifesting.
have.
And,
I had this one note that it said, for teens, your brain can read experiences from rejection, the same regions of your brain that are associated with physical pain. So the rejection feels like a physical pain. When you
mhm,
get into that teenage year, your brain is going to light up the same place if you were to hit your arm or if somebody was to run over your foot, or depending on how big the rejection is, you're going to feel it. When people are rejecting, they say, oh, I'm in so much pain. They literally mean the body is feeling pain but wasn't hit or hurt,
mm,
because your brain is sending those same signals down. And at that young age, you can't understand, why is my body hurting and nothing has touched me? And you don't even know how to begin to express that. All I know is that I'm hurting. We used to say it's heartbreak. That ain't heartbreak. That's physical pain. That's what the book told me. It was. They told me it was heartbreak because I didn't make this, or because I couldn't do this, or because that wasn't heartbreak. The book that I It said, no, ma'am, that was physical. You felt it just like physical pain. You were literally hurting literally. And that's something that I learned that you cannot, rejection, you can't dumb down. Certain things we try to dumb down. You can't, the rejection of a teenager, if they don't heal from it, if they don't ever address it, if they keep being pushed to the side, if it keeps piling up, because that's what's going to happen. Because if you keep putting them to the side, it's going, and things are going to start looking like rejection. That's not rejection. It's just going to keep piling up.
Absolutely.
And the pain is going to get worse. And you know what happens after that? They start reacting out of that pain. Their reaction to everyone is from the pain that they're feeling, which I at one point thought was heartache, but y'all hurt me. So hurting people hurt people. So let me show you about this hurt that I'm feeling. I gotta get it out some kind of way. I gotta let somebody feel it. I can't be the only one around here hurting. You in high school, you know that's how we think. We don't rationalize. We don't rationalize anything. We just like, oh no, if I'm in it, you in it too. So the next person who says something, finna catch it. And so therein lies so many of those disagreements in high school. Because you made the team and I didn't, and we was friends, but we ain't friends no more. Because you're the captain and I'm not. We on the same team, but I didn't make captain and you did. And that killed me in the inside, and I didn't know how to express that, and I didn't understand that it wasn't necessarily meant to be a rejection, but that's how I felt, and nobody talked to me about that. And so now I'm gonna take all this pain all year long. Y'all finna feel it and hear about it. Just because I didn't know. I didn't know that I was supposed to talk through this and grow from this. I'm 17. I don't know nothing about talking and growing. And so therein lies where the parents come into play. Give your child that space. Give them that open space to talk about it, to explain to them what's going on. Because they have to have somewhere to feel safe. I mean, if it's not the parent, at least take them somewhere where they will feel safe to talk about it. That's we have to find the space for them to feel safe to talk about their rejection, to talk about how their heart is really feeling, to talk about what's really going on in their minds. We got to find those spaces for these youth.
That's really good, because most of the times when in high school, it's we're always told, you don't need no boyfriend, you don't need no girlfriend, you don't need this. But the reality is, and I'm not saying that we did need one, but the reality is 9 times out of 10, you're going to be trying to get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or you're going to be in a relationship. And so it's like you said, being able to talk about, especially if a child comes to you to talk. One of the, yes, and another instance where we really need to listen is even in heated arguments. When children get upset and they just go off the deep end and they start saying all types of things, 9 times out of 10, they're talking from where they feel, what's really going on with them. It may be offensive, it may be hurtful, but we have to learn to hear what it is that they're saying. And sometimes kids may do some little get back stuff where you had a boyfriend, you had a boyfriend. And I'm not saying make room for that, because I think that kids should be respectful, and some stuff, if I do have a boyfriend or that doesn't mean you can, and I'm saying, but in those instances where a child get to saying, well, don't nobody love me, and you're talking about something and they start rambling and saying things that really may not fit it, but it really does. Being able to hear what that child is saying and then praying for an opportunity to be able to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the hardest things to do is, I would say, for a mother, to hear is sometimes hearing a daughter talk about a certain relationship and talk about what happened in that relationship and talking about, the different things and trying to help her sort through, what has happened, rather than saying, yep, so you should have never been with him anyway, or saying things like, well, none of these men are any good, or
No.
saying things that in contrary, they're not any good, but you have a man.
Mm.
Understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
So it can't be
Mm-hmm.
the opposite, but saying those things where we're hearing, what's being said, and then
Mm-hmm.
trying to help them work through their emotions. Because
Right.
whether or not we want to bite, that teenage stuff, that first love stuff, is
Mm.
reality. It's,
Mm-hmm.
it's real. And you will be left years later having not dealt with a
None
first
of it.
love thing, and now being in another relationship, or another relationship, or another relationship, three relationships later, and your mind is still processed from the first love.
Right. I like that. Whether or not you want to bite, it is still happening.
Yes,
It's
it's
still happening. That's key to un, beyond the parents, the teachers, the principals, the coaches, the aunties and uncles. Whether or not you want to bite, these kids are still whatever we want to put out the still. They still doing it, and so there has to be an open space. You can't. All of us can't be. Don't do it, and that's our answer. All of us can't be. I said no, and that's all of our answer. Where they're gonna go but to each other, and none of their brains have developed fully yet. So I don't think they have the right answer for each other. They think they do, in their minds they know it all. But if every one of the adults in their lives are telling them, "Don't talk about it with me," "No, don't do it," "That's not gonna look good on you," "You need to do this way." If all of the adults are saying that, they don't have a space to feel comfortable and talk.
right. And they're going to talk to somebody. And we have
Somebody.
to realize that when they get a certain age, it's a it's a very high possibility that we may not be the one that they come to. There may be seasons where maybe there was a good relationship there, and there's a season where that child is distant.
Yeah.
We can't always take that personal, because it could just be the fact that they don't want to disappoint you, or they don't want to burden us with something, or they're simply trying to figure it out for themselves. And we definitely can't take it personal if they have someone else that they talk to, but it's a trusted voice to you. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody
Yes.
that's going to give them help them to make sound decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, when they're older and they're that age, even when they talk to somebody else, it doesn't mean that they're going to change and start doing something different,
Not at all.
and we have to remember that it took time for us. When we thought we were in love, nobody could tell us
Can somebody tell me nothing?
different.
Nothing.
When we thought we were in love, we thought that we were in love. And so being able to parent with grace is key. Being able to parent and to listen for those keywords. Sometimes those keywords does not mean that you have to run up on them. Hey, girl, you done been rejected. Come on, so we get this right. Come on, so we can do that. Because it takes time. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that may not be the optimum time, but it does give you a starting point for prayer. You know, we'll
Yes.
say, I don't know what's going on with this girl. I don't know what's going on with this boy, or he saw this, that, and the third. But sometimes if we would listen, then we'll know
Mm-hmm.
exactly what's going on, and we'll know how to key in with prayer and where to start praying from. You know,
Yes.
um, I want to, this is sitting on me, and our time is, we're actually a little bit over. I'm not going to go over this tonight, but I want to push myself because I want to continue this conversation as it relates to rejection. And I want to now, even we looked at even a broader audience tonight, and I want to bring it home a little bit more and deal with those that are in high school and maybe a little bit fresh out of out of high school. And so I want to look at rejection and what causes our young people to sometimes enter into illicit relationships.
Mm. Mm.
That's going to be good. I've already
Mm-hmm.
started studying.
That's gonna be good.
Those things that will cause them to enter, rejection can cause them to enter into illicit relationships. And that's the reality of it. And so, just a couple of those things once we talk, seeking validation and acceptance. One.
Mm.
Two, Sister Tara hit this, escaping emotional pain. Three, they start rebelling against norms or expectations. Four, they start to experience unhealthy patterns and attachment issues. Five, they have a desperation for connection. Six, they start to exhibit manipulative or predatory behavior. And then seven, they definitely have unresolved trauma. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to, this week,
Mm-hmm.
actually, our regular candid conversation is scheduled for the second Sunday in the month. So this Sunday, I'm going to look at rejection and what causes our young people to enter into illicit relationships.
Mm.
It's going to be good. Now, as we prepare to wrap up, I'm going to ask Sister Tara to give us some final thoughts and final words, and then I'll come and then I'll conclude.
All right. Thank y'all so much for having me and for being on with us. Final thoughts. Rejection. Rejection can start at a very young age, but as adults, as parents, let's make sure that we're giving these children what they need, the space to be open about however they're feeling. I think in that space, they will be able to grow from the rejection in a positive manner.
Awesome. All right. Again, I want to ditto that. Thank you all for joining us on tonight. I hope that this has been very encouraging and has also shed some light on rejection at a greater level. This is another Candid Conversations with Chanel, where the information that we provide is always real, raw, and it's definitely relevant. Have a great evening. See you next Sunday.